Sports continues its coverage of the NASCAR Summer Series. Today, it's Nextel Cup racing from the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. Hi, everybody, the TNT Race family. Happy to welcome you to Chicagoland. This is the All-State Countdown to Green. I'm Bill Weber. And Casey Mears will lead them to the green flag. Casey won the Bud pole. It's his third career pole, the seventh pole in 7 races at Chicago, the 10th driver to win a pole in 2007. Casey's other 2 poles both came on 2.5-mile tracks at Pocono and Indianapolis. Back-to-back races back in 2004. Casey Mears on the pole for today's race here in Chicago. And here's the starting grid. On that front row, it's Mears and Martin Truex Jr., 2 guys that both got their first win in recent races.
Row 2 on the inside is Ryan Newman. On the outside, Mark Martin driving the 01 car this week.
Row 3, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch on the outside.
In row 4, you'll find Clint Bowyer and Jimmy Johnson.
Inside of row 5, John Andretti in the 45 car. On the outside, Matt Kenseth.
In row 6, defending champion of this race, Jeff Gordon, and the other Petty Enterprises car driven by Bobby Labonte. Row 7, there's Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick, and as you take a look at the rest of the starting grid, Kyle's gonna jump on the radio for us.
Hey, John Andretti, this is Kyle up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I read you, Kyle.
Hey, man, great qualifying run in that NTB Dodge, and we really appreciate it. I know you had a good practice yesterday. Are you looking forward to today?
Kyle, I'm looking forward to today. I'm looking forward to all the races I've got to do for Petty Enterprises, and I just want to thank you and Patty and Richard Linda and all the people at Petty Enterprise for giving me a great opportunity to come back and have some fun with the people I really love to work with, and great sponsors and Marathon and Wells Fargo and, of course, Iron Kingdom and NTV. So I'm just ready to have a lot of fun, and hopefully I can make you proud today. I'm going to try.
Hey, good luck today, man. We'll check in with you a little later. And I just want to say from Petty Enterprise, all the employees, and from our family, thank you for doing this for us, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kyle.
John Andretti driving that 45 car. And who's in that car when we go to Indianapolis? Who is that?
You've got to be happy to be getting back in that race car after the last 6 weeks.
I'm going to tell you something. I got to admit, I've loved working with you guys. Loved working with...
No one will believe that.
All the camera guys, everybody that sets up the booth out there or the TV compound, everybody involved with TNT. But I'm going to be honest with you. It's different when you're outside the car and you're hurt and you can't get in. When I'm sitting up here and I know I could be down there driving, I'm a little antsy after 2 or 3 weeks. I will say that.
Well, career start number 800 at the Brickyard, so good luck to you there.
Thank you very much.
All right, 2 to go for the 43 stars of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on the track here at Chicagoland. A lot going on this weekend. Final stories from pit road. Ladies first, here's Lindsay Zarniak.
Mark Martin was ready to have his best start ever at Chicago. He had qualified 4th, but then he wrecked his car in practice, had to go to the backup car. Mark was so devastated. He said this is something he will never forget in his entire life. So now he starts from the back. He's got to find his way to weave up through traffic to improve on his best finish here, which is 6th. Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Kevin Harvick's been finding his groove all weekend. Most of the guys think the bottom is the best way to get to the checkers, but Kevin went upstairs in practice, and he thinks that might help him get the win here this weekend, which means we would have to break out the broom. You see, nobody has ever swept a Busch Cup weekend here at Chicagoland. Kevin's won twice in the Cup car, and yesterday, Marty Snyder, he won the Busch race.
Well, just like Mark Martin, Kurt Busch has to start at the back of the field today after an engine change on Friday before they ever even took a lap in practice. Now, Kurt has done this one time before at Chicago, 2002. Started all the way at the back of the pack, worked his way up to a career-best Chicago finish of 6th. How will they do it today? Well, Pat Tryson told me through pit strategy, maybe taking no tires, 2 tires, trying to do the opposite of what the leaders do here on pit road. Matt?
Marty, Jimmy Johnson, one of those drivers who's had a stellar first half of the season, but would like a big jump start as we get ready for the second half. He won 4 times, but he hasn't won since May. Now, he's got a great pit stall. He's in the Hendricks section of pit road. They've got 3 of the last 4 stalls at the end of pit road. Now, polling a number of crew chiefs in the garage here this morning, they all point to the 48 as the car to beat. He looked great on the bottom in final practice. He looked great in the middle, but he really looked good up top. Expect the 48 like a lot of other guys, to go up top, because this racetrack, Larry Mack, is losing so much grip. It's showing some age.
I will guarantee you that, Matt. We've been racing here for 6 years, but you know what? Throw the record books away. What I look at is how slick this racetrack is going to be. The guy I think you better watch, he's led every lap here almost, but the last lap, he's the only Ford to qualify in the top 15. He was in the top 5 in both practices yesterday. You better keep an eye on the man that almost won it last year, Matt Kenseth, in that 17 car.
Thanks, Larry. Hope you guys have a great race down there this afternoon here at Chicagoland. Sunny, about 85 degrees here in the Chicagoland area, Joliet, Illinois. There you see 267 laps, pit road speed 45 miles per hour. The pit window 54 to 56. First race on this track with the smaller fuel cell. Yes, because of the history of this track, fuel mileage could be a factor as we get down to the finish. Less than half a lap from going green, and this is going to be a day we're going to be watching these guys up front at the very beginning to see which way they're going and see who can come from the back. Guys like Kurt Busch and Mark Martin back there.
But this is an incredibly hard place to come from the back. Track position is so important. Wally touched on it in the opening. Clean air, getting out front. We saw it in the Busch race. We've seen it in the past. That part of the racetrack has not changed. Even though it's gotten a little wider, it's going to be a little slicker. That part's not changed.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of strategy going on. If you're in the mid-pack or the back, you're going to see some maybe two-tire changes, whatever, and get that car up in front, and then hopefully these yellows or cautions or pit stops will cycle in your favor.
Our 6th and final race of the summer here on TNT. Our crew happy to be here to bring it to you. Casey Mears, Martin Truex Jr. on the front row. 267 laps, 400 miles here at Chicagoland. Field moving toward the start-finish line. Green flag in the air on TNT.
Up right here towards the middle, 3-4 wide. It looked like that bottom groove took off. Everybody that started in the bottom looked like they took off, and the guys on the outside struggled a little bit to get back in line. See Earnhardt right on Newman right there.
Mears led the first lap. There's Ryan Newman in the 12, Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, Matt Kenseth in the 17. Was announced this week that Budweiser sponsorship will not be going to Hendrick Motorsports with Dale Jr. Junior to the inside. Matt Kenseth wants to follow him through, Marty.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. told me before the race, Bill, that he was going to try to go to the high line, that he liked it up there, loved it up there in practice, wants to run it early in the race today as soon as he feels comfortable. And, oh, yeah, by the way, wants to wish a happy birthday to Grandma Martha Earnhardt.
Teammates right there, Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch. Subject of conversation this week after the finish at Daytona. Talked to some of the guys on the 25 car in the garage this morning. They said that Casey's better on the long runs. We're really concerned about how he'd handle the first 10 or 12 laps. But so far, he's still out front.
He's got clean air right now, so he's in the very best position that he can be.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, that's a black flag for Paul Menard in that 15 car.
But let's remember this about the 15. They changed engines yesterday afternoon, had to go to the back. Could be a loose line, could be just something that they've just overlooked when they change engines. That's the bad part about changing engines.
They're going to post you this lap, Paul.
See Kurt Busch there in the 2, Gilliland in the 3rd. Check that's Ricky Rudd in the 88.
And I'll tell you what, the bad thing about this, a lot of people don't think about, Kyle, sometimes is if you're behind that right now and that thing's blowing oil out, that could really mess up your windshield this early in the race. If we get maybe a shot of the 2 car, or one of those guys that was right behind him, we don't know if he's leaking oil, but man, it's tough when it hits your windshield.
See him moving to the inside. He'll try and get on pit road. Matt Kenseth has gotten around Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's for 5th. Kenseth had a spectacular run here a year ago.
I don't know how Kenseth is on a short run. I really didn't pay a lot of attention to him yesterday, but he runs something like 15 or 20 laps, and he was really good as we watched this battle for the lead.
Martin Truex Jr. in the 1, Casey Mears in the 25. Jimmy Johnson watches in 3rd. New leader, Truex Jr.
I'm going to tell you, Martin Truex Jr. is fast becoming one of the usual suspects to win a race on a regular basis.
And this is a car that he really likes. I mean, you know how it is, Kyle. Sometimes you'll get a race car that just feels good everywhere. It gives you that feel you're looking for, like it's digging into the racetrack. And this is one of those cars for Martin.
And you've
3150, 5 points.
You've experienced it in your career. Even though it's just a hunk of metal, these things have personalities. They have their own personalities, and some of them are kind to you as a driver, and some of them just hate you as a driver. And that's the way it is. Oh, big fire here or something.
Ralph, you down there?
Well, there's all kinds of smoke down here and fire under the hood of the number 15 of Paul Menard. They have had all kinds of issues with this car. As Kyle pointed out, they changed the motor on this thing. They had a leak in it earlier. They thought they had it fixed this morning, but apparently not. They're going to push to 15 now behind the wall with a big, huge trail of smoke following it.
And you can see it kind of in that shot right there. They're pitting right in front of the 43 and right behind the 66. And they put all that fire extinguisher stuff in the pits. That's hard getting through that when you're coming in or going out and you put that on your tires. They're going to have to clean that up to make pit road a safer place.
They're actually, I think, trying to blow it off, and they'll be sweeping it. You're right, though, Kyle. They're going to get that as clean as possible, because if you run through that stuff, you get on your tires, especially when they're hot, and it will slide.
Jimmy Johnson is in 2nd place now, past Casey Mears, so the pole sitter back to 3rd. Truex leads. We check with Matt.
Johnson on the move. Bill says the car is just a tick on the free side as he hugs the bottom. Meanwhile, Casey Mears, Richard Dariengrupp told me this morning, the grip level is just coming out of this racetrack. Tight is now tighter. And you really have to start this racetrack 25% freer than you normally would. Normally you could stand it, so that way you won't be too tight at the end. Right now, Casey says the car is just way too free. He's just trying to be patient and hang on for later in the run when that nose weight just takes over a little more.
Whoa. Well, it looked like Jimmy Johnson was sliding pretty good off before that lap.
You know, Larry and I were talking before the race started. We saw 2 accidents in practice here, one with the 01 car, one with the 19 car of Elliott Sadler. In both cases, and Larry can probably add to this a little if he's listening to what I'm saying, they freed up the rear of the car but didn't really change the front. And you hear these guys talking about the front sliding or the racetrack losing grip. You've got to, when you make that adjustment, you've got to make the rear match the front. It's almost like pulling a trailer, and sometimes when the trailer doesn't do what the front of the car does, the car does something totally out of the ordinary.
Yeah, Kyle, I think that's the balancing act that these guys had here in those 2 practices. A lot of guys were not turning. They were sliding the front end. And what they were trying to do was they were almost trying to unhook the rear end to make the front end cut, and it definitely bit Mark Martin and Elliott Sadler right at the end of that final practice. You have to work on the end that's not sticking. You don't unhook the other end.
Yeah, and Larry, a lot of guys that I talked to, they were loose in, and the cars were tight. I mean, and that's probably the worst thing you can have at a racetrack like this, is having your car loose in and then picking up the tight.
Well, you're entering turn 1 at well over 195 miles an hour. You're entering turn 3 right at about 190. No, you do not want to be loose.
That's from yesterday. Mark Martin crashed that car, was very upset about it. Very disappointed. Trying to come from the back in a backup car. Everybody chasing Martin Truex Jr. Last year in this race, 29th to 16th. Finished on the lead lap. Now he leads everybody in the Sheetrock 400. Back just in time to see Jimmy Johnson make a move on Truex for the lead. Got it. Jimmy Johnson, the new leader at Chicagoland. Johnson has never won here, but has never finished worse than 6th in his 5 races at this track. And now he's out front.
I don't think there's any dirt left between the wall and the racetrack. He's been running that high line right almost from the get-go.
Yeah, you know, it was funny. He ran down the 17. He ran down the 17 and went around him. The 17 came back by him, and then he ran him down again. And these guys have swapped positions for the 3rd time in this race.
But like you were saying, you expect the 17 to be better on the longer runs here today.
I expect the 17 to be better. And really, like Marty said in the beginning, you know, he said that Junior said he was going to the top, and the first 5 or 6 laps he stayed on the bottom, but he has moved absolutely all the way to the top. Maybe the Darlington stripe is no longer in existence. Maybe we have to call it the Chicago stripe or something.
Somebody will be picking that up today. It's Kyle Busch in the 5, Kenseth in the 17.
You know, the 17 is working. I mean, in that last time around in 1 and 2, he was right at the bottom. And that time in 3 and 4, he was right in the middle. I mean, I think if you get your car to work down on the bottom, you're going to be fast here.
Yeah,
that's the trick, is keeping it to work there all the time.
Is keeping it on the bottom. But how many times in your career and how many times have you sat here and watched the race and saw a guy who could really work good low on one side and one end and high on the other?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you just find the place where your car feels comfortable.
Yep. This is for 4th, Lindsay.
You guys are exactly right, and I think his car is capable of doing that. He was really happy with the car yesterday in practice. Said the only thing is he wants it to turn a little bit better in the corners. But same car that he ran here last year, same car that won in Michigan last year, and you guys talked about his domination. He led 288 of 537 laps in the last 2 races.
What's Larry have to say?
Hey, guys, what I've been watching every time the caution comes out, look how much these guys have slowed down on the stopwatch, over 1.5 seconds in 22 laps, and I just think that's because there's no grip. They're sliding around so much.
And that's an excellent observation. We talked about it with the Petty Enterprise teams and with Evernham Motorsports. You come and you run during the week and there's some grip and you're in new tires. You run your top end manifold. You want that thing to get top end speed. You want to have 200 miles an hour going into the corner. But when the race actually starts, the speed drops off so low, it's almost like you need a gear change for the race. And you can't make a gear change because of the gear rule that NASCAR has. So a lot of times you'll make a manifold change or a rocker arm change to change the power curve in the engine. And that's what a lot of these guys do, anticipating the drop off in the tires.
On the Move, brought to you by the Principal Financial Group, will give you an edge. David Stremme, Jamie McMurray, Juan Pablo Montoya, Jeff Burton, Greg Biffle. Moving toward the front. At the front, Jimmy Johnson. 5 races here. He's finished 6th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Right now, he's 1st. TNT Sports live in Joliet, Illinois. NASCAR Nextel Cup racing from Chicagoland. About to complete lap number 30. Jimmy Johnson is the race leader, but finds himself in lap traffic right here. Ward Burton, Elliott Sadler, Chad Chaffin already been knocked off the lead lap. This is for 4th still. Kenseth in the 17, Kyle Busch in the 5.
And we saw these guys go at it last week at Daytona, and how the 5 never gave the 17 any room and the 17 never gave the 5 any room. And here we go back at Chicago the same way.
I know this is going to shock you, but it looks like the 5 car's loose. And we'll see. I don't think if he is loose, he's not going to be able to hold a 17 back on this place, just because you can get somebody so loose here just driving up behind him. So it'll be interesting to see.
He drives that thing so loose. I used to just think it was the paint job on it, but it's not the paint job. The paint,
camera angle.
Yeah, it's the camera angle. It's not the camera angle. That's not an optical illusion. He is sideways 90% of the time.
And Kyle Busch is probably very motivated. Lost the Busch race yesterday, was out front, late race caution. He came to pit road, but the guys behind him basically did not.
No, see that? Now he was loose here, right?
Yeah, when that
wasn't an optical illusion.
No, that was not an optical. But in the Busch stuff, he has dominated the Busch stuff this year. If we go back to Daytona, the first race at Daytona, not to have but 1 win to show for his season, those guys have had a great season in that Busch car.
When you're behind a guy that's that loose, are you watching it the whole time?
Well, you know what? If you're behind a guy like that, you like it, because you know if you can get to his bumper, you can get him so loose to where he'll get out of the throttle. Maybe not Kyle's in the 5 cars, because he does it all the time. It's not a big deal.
You either run up on him and try to make him loose, or you do like Kenseth. You drop back far enough that you can say when he loses it, you got plenty of you can dodge it one way or the other.
How about it, Ralph?
Hey, Bill, down here in Kyle Busch's pit, you see all the guys just hanging out on the tires down here, like my man Kevin Holstein here is the 8th man over the wall. Well, all of a sudden, Kyle just radioed in and said, coming in, and they all jumped up and went running for the pit wall. Turns out the car was just coming in, not him. It's getting better on the racetrack. These guys got a rush of adrenaline, though.
I've never seen Ralph move that fast.
I haven't either.
Well, when the check comes, he moves pretty fast.
You got that right. Now if I could just get the check to come in.
But let me say this, if that 5 car is just now coming in, I'd have hate to been in it when it was out in that field. I'm going to tell you.
The first 34 laps, it was scary.
Oh, my goodness. But Kyle is an incredibly talented driver, and he just drives the thing. No matter what it feels like or what it does, he gets up on the wheel and he goes with it.
Did you follow the story in the papers this week about him and his teammates and whether or not he got help at Daytona and all that?
Not really. Okay. No, I'm sorry. I try to step away from this sport at some point in time during the course of the week.
Yeah, that's when the clubs come out. I know.
That's exactly right.
Johnson continues to lead. It's Joe Nemechek in the 13, about to go a lap down. David Reagan, Robbie Gordon have also been knocked off the lead lap. Just 35 laps in. Truex in second. We check with Matt.
And Martin Truex running in the second position, Bill. His spotter, Joey Meyer. His biggest job today, he told me, is just letting Martin know where the other fast cars are running, because as we've talked so much, everyone's running from the middle to the top and back down to the bottom depending on where they are in the run. Martin loves to what they call the Darlington line, like Kyle Petty said, right up tight to the wall. And that's where Joey is telling Bono, so they can also factor in fuel mileage for later in the race. Exactly how high up the apron they're running. Right now he says the car a little on the free side.
I know we sit here and we make a big deal out of these guys running all the way next to the wall. But when you come here on a Thursday afternoon or a Friday morning, that groove's not there.
Right.
Nobody runs up there. That develops as the weekend goes. They start on the bottom, they move up, they rubber in the bottom part of the racetrack, then they rubber up the center. Then they move to that point. And we saw it really come in during the Busch race yesterday. It wasn't even there during practice yesterday. So they're running in a place they've not been until today.
We're on board.
Nice job with traffic here. You're
Fast Pro car there. Truex, and it doesn't look like he's really fighting the wheel. I mean, he's kind of leaning on it, and that's what you see his elbows on the wheels for leverage. And if you could just crank that thing in and not go to the right, you can tell right there he's got a very good handling race car, just the way he's working that steering wheel.
Yeah, he's going in, just letting it drift up next to the wall, still keeping a little bit of tension on the left, still a little tension, then lets it kind of come back off of it. This is a round racetrack. I know it looks like it has a straight line down the backstretch, but when you really look on the data and you can see him, he's constantly tugging to the left a little bit, even running down the backstretch.
Truex runs second to Jimmy Johnson. 38 laps complete in the USG Sheetrock 400. David Rudiman off the pace.
That looks like big blow-up smoke to me.
Yeah, it does, and he's still in the gas with it, so it's still running. He's yet to cut it off.
Johnson continues to lead, 45 laps complete. And he has knocked Sterling Marlin and Jeremy Mayfield, David Gilliland, Casey Kane off the lead lap now. 31 cars remaining on the lead lap. There's the 2 car of Kurt Busch. Larry, what are you working on?
Well, I've been watching this 2 car of Kurt Busch. Remember, had the engine problem right before practice even started on Friday. They spent most of that practice changing engines. They had to go to the rear of the field with this brand new race car that they brought here. And now we're about 8 to 10 laps away from the first pit stop. We've not had a caution. He started at the end of the field. He's already almost worked his way into the top 15. He needs a little bit, though, Marty, of a caution to get caught up, because he's about 2/3 of a lap down now to leader Jimmy Johnson.
Just had a conversation with Pat Tryson about that, Larry Mack. As you said, started 43rd, now in 17th. The car has been very good. One of the few cars down here with a loose condition, Kurt Busch is. Remember what we talked about, Larry Mack? They wanted to take 2 on the first stop, maybe none on the first stop, but 46 laps in, when they hit pit road here at about 4 or 5 laps, they've almost got to take 4 tires, don't they?
Lindsay.
That's exactly what Matt Kenseth's going to do. He actually was on the radio and said about 3 laps ago, my car went to junk. They gave him 4 tires. They're going to make a wedge adjustment because he's saying his car is just getting very, very tight on those long runs. Now you go to the 99 of Carl Edwards. Carl had been happy with the car, but he did say that they wanted them to add a half-round of bite on that first stop because he was just a little bit loose. His car has just become drivable, Ralph.
Well, the 26 of Jamie McMurray, last week's winner, is in for his pit stop. They take care of the service on the right side of the car. Larry Carter told me earlier today that basically the first 50 laps is where you get a good idea of how you're running, Matt. They start up through the field.
And Martin Truex, who was running solidly in the top three most of this first run, hits pit road, says the car is just too snug, especially off turn 2. Besides an air pressure adjustment, they were talking about possibly making a chassis adjustment as well. Meanwhile, the 12 of Ryan Newman, one of those guys in the bubble zone trying to lock himself into the chase. His car started out way too loose. Significant air pressure change. They know it's going to be still free, but they're just trying to get a little more into that zone like Newman's looking for.
His pit stop started on lap 48. There's Casey Mears pulling into his stall. Denny Hamlin also on pit road. Marty.
Yeah, Denny's hung around the top 10, about 11th for most of this run. His car is tight, especially in the bottom of 3 and 4, and tight on initial throttle. But what happens on the exit of the corner, the car snaps loose a little bit. They're going to go up on the track bar, half a round of wedge out as well, Matt.
Our pole sitter Casey Mears making his way to his pit box. His car, most of that run was really free. Meanwhile, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson pulling into his box as well, looking for a track bar and air pressure change on this 48, Marty.
Well, Matt, as we mentioned, Kurt Busch with the terrific run from the back to the front of the field. His car was a little bit loose. All they did, one air pressure adjustment on the 2 car. If they can get the track position, they have a car that could finish in the top 5 today, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. A lot of traffic getting off of pit road. Matt?
Jeff Gordon says his car was like a dirt track car in final practice. Thought they made some adjustments to fix that. Now he says it's just way too much to the extreme, the tight side. Big air pressure change to try to fix that as well.
On board with Gordon. So he gets back up to speed. Now this is on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And this was a moment ago.
Looks like he was slowed down to try to get into pit lane, but for some reason he couldn't get it slowed down. He couldn't get, I think he was going too fast when he was approaching the entrance, Kyle, and I think if he would have jumped on the brakes, he would have just smoked through it anyway.
And the problem is you got plenty of room, but you can't clear the cone.
Ralph.
Well, the 29 of Kevin Harvick is in. Todd Berrier been making the calls on this car. They've been very happy with the performance of it so far. Some minor adjustments, nothing too serious. And he's going to get back out on the track here, Marty.
Well, Ralph, so far, Dale Earnhardt Jr. didn't say a word to the team about missing pit road there, although they did notice he lost a lot of track position. For Jr., the car extremely tight. He says it's being very hard on the right front tire, half pound out of that right front tire, half pound in the right rear, and up on the track bar 1 round, trying to loosen that car up. 13.7 on the stop for Jr.
And we saw guys miss pit stops 2 or 3 times yesterday in the Busch race, and this is just a place where you're coming around 3 and 4 really, really fast, and when you go to pit entrance, it's a really hard left, so you're turning left, and it's really tough to get the car slowed down in time, make the commitment line, and not blow it.
Been green since we started. 54 laps are complete. Has cycled back to Jimmy Johnson as the race leader. Waiting for Dale Earnhardt Jr. to cross the line right about now.
You know, like he said, Junior didn't say anything to the crew about missing pit road. He didn't have to say anything to the crew. They knew he was supposed to be coming, and he was going on around. And just like Wally said, the problem with this coming out of turn 4 opens up to the right. Pit road goes left. That's almost like a 45-degree turn to get down pit road, so it's very, very easy to miss.
Junior just took 12 from Carl Edwards. Been green all the way so far at Chicagoland. Jimmy Johnson is the race leader. This is NASCAR on TNT. Caution on the speedway at Chicagoland. Jeff Green has spun, and I'll let our 2 drivers take you through what happened.
This has been coming for 3 or 4 laps. They were running, the 66 and the 55 was running side by side, and Truex got in there, and Jeff just got down in the corner too hard. Car drifted up, and to stay off Michael, Jeff just turned the car hard to the left and spun it around. But the reason these guys were racing so hard is they're racing for position. I mean, you can't say anything against the 66 and the 55, but Truex was wearing the bumper out on the 66 and the 55 trying to get around them.
Yeah, I think the 66 knew he had to go. The one car was up on the back, and I think the 66, like you said, just ran in there a little bit harder, trying to make the pass happen to get out of the one car's way.
Yeah, and I think we see this from NCAR. You see, watch the 66 turn down in the corner, and his nose grips, and the car wiggles right there. Boom. And he does a great, Michael Waltrip does a great job saving that thing because he's sideways, not quite as sideways as Kyle Busch has been, but he's sideways at that point in time. And the 66 of Jeff Green did a great job of just keeping out of everybody's way.
Sterling Marlin is the lucky dog. He'll come around, be the 27th car on the lead lap. Green spun right in front of a number of good cars. They head to pit road, we head to Lindsay.
And the 17 is thankful that they had this opportunity to come down because Kenseth said he had a vibration. They weren't sure if all the lug nuts were on tight enough, so his team is taking this opportunity to go ahead and put 4 more tires on, add fuel. To Ralph.
Kyle Busch is back in with the number 5 car. The last time they made a tremendous amount of changes. He's been tight everywhere. The air pressure, track bar, and wedge. Just a little bit more of adjustment this time, Matt.
Ralph leader Jimmy Johnson said the car started out positive. Still, though, on the free side, chassis adjustment across the back to try to tighten up a little more. But all in all, he says the car is good. Meanwhile, the 24 Gordon, fuel only, Marty.
Matt, it was a quick stop for Clint Boyer and his bunch, but the problem was when Clint left, he stalled the car, 2 tires, no changes. He said, I'm sideways, but that's what it's going to take to be fast at the end of the run.
Well, pit strategy starting to come into play at Chicagoland with 60 laps complete. You're watching the USG Sheetrock 400. TNT Sports live at the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. The pit summary brought to you by NASCAR Hot Pass, only on DirecTV. And you guys were kicking around the different strategies here. What do you want? Do you want your 4 tires? You want 2 tires? You want just fuel?
Well, depending on how your car feels, I think you've got to go with 4. I would. I mean, I always go with 4,
Yeah.
though. I mean, I'm a 4-tire guy unless it's towards the end of the race.
I beg for 4. I want 4 all the time, but I'm going to say, especially at a place like this that has a tendency to go green for so long.
Right.
You know what I mean? To go green, this is going to put these guys, some of them, even though they gas and go, tire-wise, those last 8 or 10 laps, I'd hate to be sitting in that thing in the last 8 or 10 laps when the tires kind of quit working.
Larry?
Hey guys, I pointed out earlier where in 15 laps the times fell off by 1.5 seconds. Some of these guys had 10 or 11 laps on their tires. I'm like Wally and Kyle. Give me 4 as slick as this place is.
Kevin Harvick in the 29, Reed Sorensen in the 41. Did not pit. This is just about to get fun.
Because those guys on the inside of Harvick, they did pit.
Right.
You know what I mean? These guys do have it on good tires. But, you know, this is the biggest gamble of all, is not pitting, because now you're 8 or 10 laps short on fuel and 8 or 10 laps short on tires. So when it all runs out on you, it's going to run out quick. And if they do have another long green, we've already had 1 green flag stop in this race.
Right.
If they do have another long run, this could come back to bite these guys a little bit. Or it puts you on a totally different pit sequence, and you look like a hero when the race cycles out.
But you have clean air.
You got clean air, man, and that's worth something because we're seeing it right now.
Reigns in that 96 car is the first car 1 lap down. Tony Stewart in the 20, Ryan Newman in the 12, Kyle Busch in the 5, and Junior in the 8.
So Stewart's the first guy in that line there that's got 4 tires, correct? And it's going to take a couple laps for those tires to come in. So we'll see if he really starts mowing down the first 2 guys, Harvick and Sorensen, once these tires come in.
On board there in Hart behind Kyle Busch, rather. Junior down low. It's Ryan Newman in the 12.
And I was just told that Stewart only took fuel.
Stewart was fuel only also? Well, we know Kenseth took 4.
the 24 and the 12 of Ryan Newman both were fuel only. The biggest complaint for the 24 was he was tight. They made a big adjustment on his previous stop. Only had about 10 laps on the tires. Meanwhile, the 12 of Newman, his car was a little free. That was his biggest complaint.
Wow, look at Kenseth.
You see what 4 tires do. You see how fast he dove to the bottom of the racetrack to get in front of the 8 car there.
Boyer's got his hands full too right there. Saw him get sideways in the middle of 3 or 4.
You know, we talk about how confident sometimes. 4 tires just make you confident too. I don't care whether they're sticking or not. You believe them to be better than the guy in front of you. When the pit crew's saying, hey, those guys only went gas and go, man. Don't worry about it. They got old tires. Man, you'll drive it down in the corner thinking your stuff's going to stick no matter what, because you just have that little bit of added confidence.
Clint Boyer in that 07 behind Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Up front, Harvick continues to lead. Larry?
Yeah, what I'm seeing, guys, and I know you're probably seeing the same thing, I think the only way staying out or other strategy besides 4 tires works is if you're in the position of Kevin Harvick and Reed Sorensen out there. We talk about it all the time at a track like this, clean air, because what's very interesting, about 2 laps ago, those 2 cars, the 29 and the 41, ran their fastest lap of this race.
Marty with more on car 41.
Well, I was going to bring in Larry McBeal. I just talked to Jimmy Ellerts, the crew chief for Reed Sorensen. He told me we had nothing to lose. You know, we're back there in 10th and 12th, and our car's good enough to run up front. So we decided to not pit at all because we only had 5 green flag laps on your tires. So he agrees with you, Larry Mack. They had nothing to lose by not pitting there. And as you mentioned too, Larry Mack, if you're going to try it, now's the time to do it, right?
I think the only thing that will burn them is a long run here. I think they'll start to go back to those cars back there like Matt Kenseth. Right now, they don't have to fight with any lap cars. If we have a long run, we know they'll have to fight with lap cars.
And we set this up at the start of the race. I mean, your car may be okay when you're in the middle of the pack, but if you can get up there and get away from these guys so you're not racing them, all of a sudden your car magically feels better because you've got that air pushing down on that body that's pushing those tires into the racetrack. And we see long green flag runs here a lot.
A lot. This place is like a Michigan and like a California when it comes to that type of racing, or Vegas, where you get into a situation where everybody just kind of falls into a rhythm around the racetrack because it is so fast. It is a rhythm racetrack. You fall into that rhythm and you end up racing the track more. That's as we see the 48 car run the high side and the 12. The 48 car has new tires and he is coming. It's just going to take him a little bit of time, and like Larry says, the long run is the run that's going to tell the tale of whether this was right or not.
Jimmy Johnson runs 7th. He's already led 40 laps today. The 00 of Ruderman to the garage engine woes. Harvick leads at Chicago. Harvick is the race leader. 78 laps are complete. There are 27 cars on the lead lap. Harvick got the lead by not pitting. Ralph has that story.
Todd Berrier is the crew chief for Kevin Harvick. Todd, what led you to make that call to stay out on the racetrack?
Well, Ralph, we stayed out long. We were about the last car to pit anyway. We only had 6 laps on our tires. Track position's so important here. We just needed to get it out front, see what it was going to be like. So all them guys pitted so soon, a lot sooner than 10 laps sooner than we were planning on pitting. So I feel like if this run goes green, we'll be pitting spot on with the rest of them anyway.
Well, you got a nice, healthy 4-second lead right now. How much of a real gamble could this be? Does it have any chance of backfiring on you?
Oh, you have a 6-lap window there that these guys could pit. We'd have to pit, and then the caution would come out. Yeah, so there's 6 laps there that it could backfire, but chance you got to take.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Oh, you're either going to be lucky or not. I mean, that's all there is to it, really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you made your bed. Now you got to lay in it. These guys made that call. Some of them made it on fuel. Some of them made it on no tires. And it's going to be interesting to see as much the fuel run here with the 29 and the 41 as it is on how the tires are going to work over the last 10 or 12 laps of a run.
See our AutoZone in the zone.
The one thing you can't argue with is Kevin Harvick and Berrier's record here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when they make a call, you got to look at it and you got to say, man, why didn't I think about that? These guys have dominated a lot of races at this place. Kevin just fell into the rhythm of this racetrack, and he really likes this place. So
Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth. That's Johnson now in 6th, and Kenseth back to 7th. Harvick's out front. Larry McReynolds, I got 2 words for you. Clean air.
Oh, yeah, I had to get out of the set. I had to get down here in our TNT Ford Fusion test car. As I've been watching the 29 car go through the corners, one thing that helps that car really grip and makes downforce is this valence is almost sealed off. That's making maximum front downforce. But the one thing that's helping that 29 car right now, there's no cars in front of him. All the pressure, all the clean air is on this front end and pushing down. That's making maximum front downforce. If you're back in traffic or when he starts catching lap cars, all of a sudden you're not in clean air, and it's almost like picking this nose up. That's when you lose your downforce, and that's what I'm a little concerned on those older tires.
Thank you, sir. There's some good racing going on out there right now.
That was a really good explanation, too,
yeah.
Larry. I mean, that was perfect. What it's all about is just getting the air on the front of that car so that it just pushes those Goodyear tires in the racetrack.
There are those 3 Hendrick teammate cars right in a row. You notice
they love each other.
They are
too.
close. They are very close.
I wonder if they'll help each other. Probably not. You know, but something interesting there is you saw the 48 run up on the 5 car and the 96. And as they came off too, you saw the 96 keep the car pinned all the way down on the bottom of the racetrack. And Tony let the 48 and the 5 race because he knows he's the lucky dog car right now. He doesn't need to be racing with those guys. He's a lap down. That's really smart driving right there.
There's Raines in that 96, currently in the 28th position.
Yeah,
Gilliland is the next car.
Right, and that's the guy he's looking for in the mirror. He wants to make sure he doesn't see David in his mirror.
Jimmy Johnson around Jeff Gordon. That's for 4th. He get loose there?
Yep. I think everybody's getting loose there, just about.
Yeah, just walks it up off the corner. These guys have constantly, the adjustments that they build into these cars, sometimes you go places and you say, I got to get, the racetrack's going to get free. I got to get tighter as the day goes. This is a racetrack that even though it doesn't have a lot of grip, it gets tighter up off the corner where you have to put more wheel in it. So constantly you're freeing up the car. And when you start freeing up the car at certain points in the race, they'll just walk up off the corner like that. You're just constantly one move behind.
And it's okay if you do that off the corner. If you don't want to be, you don't want to be loose getting into the corner here because you're carrying so much speed down into, you're on the gas pedal as you're turning down into these corners. And if that car gets loose getting in, I'm telling you what, it's no fun. It's hard to save the race car.
Harvick out front, this race being seen in about 80 countries and all of our military bases and ships around the world. Special salute to everybody on the Enterprise. There's your race leader, Kevin Harvick. Let's take you through the field here and start with Ralph.
Well, we begin with chassis number 179 with Kevin Harvick behind the wheel. This is a car that actually won the All-Star race and finished 21st in the 600 just a weekend later. Now, he's been working with the handling on this car. In fact, he even turned the fans off to try to change that handling a little bit. Right behind him in 2nd place is the number 20 of Tony Stewart. The center is a little bit better. The exit is a bit on the free side. But the key for Tony Stewart and the Home Depot number 20 is the pit crew. Every time he has been in, they've gained in positions. 4 spots the first time, no tires this last time, making a big difference. This car is gaining track position every time, Matt.
Ralph, about 5.5 seconds back is Jimmy Johnson. He's a great run here in Chicagoland. He scored a Busch win, but he's never chalked up a Nextel Cup victory. Best finish is 2nd. He's never finished worse than 6th. He's been running the top, where earlier he said it was just way too loose on the top. His car is really coming nicely with those 4 fresher tires, Ralph.
Well, his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Kyle Busch currently runs in 4th. He's pretty much been sitting there all day long. He only took right side tires on that last round of pit stops. The left sides have 7 more laps on them than the right sides as Kyle Busch works the high side of the racetrack, Matt.
Ralph, there's one guy who cannot wait to hit pit road again. That would be last year's winner, Jeff Gordon, in the 24. A little bit different paint scheme this weekend, but his car, much like it's been early portion of today's race, way on the loose side. He said it is almost flat sideways on exit, Lindsay.
Matt Kenseth in the 17 car just got around the 41 of Reed Sorensen to take 6th place. Kenseth very up. Remember, he said he felt a vibration in the car. They examined the 4 tires they took off. We're looking for a loose wheel, but they said everything's okay, and he doesn't have that problem now, Marty.
Lindsay, as predicted by our boys in the booth, Reed Sorensen has fallen back through the field. Just talked to Jimmy Ellich moments ago. He said if he can hang right here and it stays green, that's what they want, because the 41 car has to pit in about 10 laps. Not much longer they'll be on the racetrack. He said, I'm sideways, I'm so loose, as Ryan Newman tries to pass him on the bottom, Matt.
And Newman says the car just now has come in enough that he can really get up on the wheel and pressure some other drivers. He's one of those guys that took fuel only. He restarted 4th, fell back a little bit. Now he's starting to try to climb back up through the field.
Well, Matt, Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to dig back to the front of the field, as you see, using the cushion right up against the wall. No stripes so far. Jr. says the car is extremely tight, though, especially where he just left the racetrack off of turn 2 through the bumps in 3 and 4 where he is, though. He likes the car. Behind him, Clint Boyer, who stalled his car when he left pit road last time. He came in 7th. He came out in 9th. Boyer has actually lost a spot since then with a car that is very loose, Larry Mack.
Well, we talked about Kurt Busch in the 2 car who has worked his way up to 13th. Remember, he had to start at the rear of the field because of an engine change. But how about a guy that crashed a car that he loved in the first practice yesterday? Mark Martin in this 01 Army car, trying to help this team finish in the top 12 in owner points. He's worked his way now to the top 20 up to 17th.
Thanks, Larry. There are 27 cars currently scored on the lead lap. Carl Edwards runs in 11th, Truex is 12th. Then it's Kurt Busch, Casey Mears the pole sitter, and Jeff Burton the top 15. Kevin Harvick out front at Chicagoland. Kevin Harvick in that 29 car is the race leader here at Chicagoland, knocking Johnny Sauter off the lead lap. 26 cars on the lead lap. Harvick, Stuart Johnson, Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, the top 5. Dale Earnhardt Jr. out there about the 6th spot. But this was just a moment ago.
If you're going to run that high line, there's just the margin of error is a little bit smaller. Ooh. You can see he caught the wall pretty good there, too.
Yeah, if we got the in-car, listen to this. You can hear it. You hear him on the throttle. It's just like that, and then it just barely scrapes it. And but it sounded like it just barely scraped it. Watching it from the other angle, it looked like he got into it, but it doesn't appear to be a lot of damage to it.
Down to the birthday boy, Marty Snyder.
Well, guys, Junior said he just scraped it, and he did feather the throttle a little bit. He said he tried as best as he could, but he says, and Kyle, you and Wally know that the wall kind of comes out there off of 4, comes at you when you're driving, so it's not a lot of room there off the exit of 4.
Hey, Marty, you got somebody coming your way down there?
That would be Mr. Reed Sorensen, who hits pit road. He said his car, this entire run, Weber, was extremely loose. This will be 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment for Sorensen, trying to get that thing tightened up. He said, you know, early in that run, they were doing okay when they took no tires last time. Now their hope, though, is that it stays green and everybody else has to pit under green flag conditions.
See how this plays out. Bobby Labonte and John Andretti have been knocked off the lead lap by Harvick.
And his car may have been extremely loose, but he did a great job just hanging on to it and keeping it in track position. He kept it up, and that's what pitting that way is all about. It's staying at the front part of the pack. Now, this is going to be the telltale.
Whoa, Stewart was real loose.
It's going to be
into turn 1 right there.
Yeah, these cars, you know, this is a car that didn't pit for tires, but see, he's run down the 29. You see the 29 waving. He's coming into pits this time. These are cars that did not pit, the 41, the 29, and the 20. So they're going to be pitting. You see the 43 and the 45, John Andretti and Bobby Labonte have gotten back in the lead lap now.
Yeah, the 20 pitted for fuel only.
Yes.
So the 29 and 41 are the 2 that we're watching right here. 41's been there, and the 29 is headed for Ralph Shaheen.
Our race leader has made his way down onto pit road. They're talking about tightening this car a little bit. It's been pretty good. Remember, there was a 6-lap window, and the key to this whole run of staying out was all about track position. We'll see if that can work out for them. One of the keys to getting that track position is a good, solid pit stop. Working on around 10 seconds, 11 seconds. Can they get him serviced in a way? They do in about 14.5 seconds. Pretty solid stop for the 29 crew.
coming in here, Harvick in the last 8 races had only led 3 laps, and today he has led 50 here at Chicagoland. Tony Stewart is the race leader. Larry McReynolds, what are you doing down there?
Well, and we're seeing Jimmy Johnson make his green flag stop here. I want to expand on what Marty Schneider was talking about. These guys having to pit, Reed Sorensen and Kevin Harvick. But the one thing about it, I think it's forcing guys like Jimmy Johnson to come to pit road, because every lap that they're out there on fresh tires, everyone else on older tires, they're picking up over a second a lap, Matt Yoakum.
Larry McIntyre, crew chief Ron Malik has already completed the track bar adjustment. Jimmy said he was free on both ends, entry and on exit. Ralph?
Well, the 26 is in and out. Getting ready to go away is the number 26 of Jamie McMurray. This car has been running decent, but they haven't been gaining the ground that they've wanted to with the car. They were talking about taking some air out, trying to loosen the car up just a little bit too tight on the number 26. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch now making his way down pit lane as well in the 5 car. Marty, let's go to you now.
Well, guys, when you're running that high line like Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been all day, you can sometimes brush the wall. You can also sometimes hurt the right front when the car is pushing as bad as Junior's car is pushing. He said, guys, we are just killing the right front on this car, and at the end of the run, I've got nothing left. Air pressure adjustments trying to loosen this car up, and a bottle of water for Junior, Ralph.
Well, the 20 of Tony Stewart has been free in the center. They need to free it up even more is what he wants that car to do. The entrance and the exit has to stay the same with this number 20. That's what he wants it to do, Marty.
Ralph Clint Boyer stayed around the top 10 in that run. Remember, he stalled the car leaving pit road last time. They asked Clint, what do you want to do to the car this time? He said, absolutely nothing. The car is very good. They're a little loose at the beginning of the run, like you need to do, a little tight at the end of the run. They're going to make no changes to this 07 car. This is a car that's been very good for Clint over the years, a car that almost won at Las Vegas and almost won Kansas last year. Further down pit road, Denny Hamlin hits pit road. His car has been tight for much of this run. For Hamlin, they're going to make an air pressure adjustment on that number 11 car, trying to make him better at the beginning of the run where he's a little bit too loose. They also make a track bar adjustment, going down a little bit, trying to make that car a little bit tighter at the beginning of the run.
Kurt Busch on pit road. Back to you, Marty.
Well, what a run this has been for Kurt Busch. We've documented that from the very back of the field. He hits pit road, currently running in the, where is he, Weber? What place is he in? I can't find it on my scoring chart. Yes.
He came in as the leader.
Oh, he came in as the leader. The car, very good for Kurt. He said it's a little too loose off the corner for his liking. They had a pound to the right rear. That's actually to fix a tight condition getting into the corner. Loose off the corner, a wedge adjustment to fix that for the 2 car. Nice run. They have a fast car. They still need a little help with the track position, though.
This is a drive-through speeding penalty for Clint Boyer. Too fast on pit road, so he has to do a drive-through on pit road. Also being told Robbie Gordon missed the commitment cone. He hit the commitment cone.
Go, go, go. Pass everybody you can pass.
And Harvick reassumes the race lead. So those green flag stops started around lap 113, 116 complete. Harvick leads at Chicagoland. TNT Sports at the Chicagoland Speedway, Joliet, Illinois. The USG Sheetrock 400. 121 laps are complete. The action doesn't end when the race is over. Take advantage of TNT's Superstore discount, special driver guitar auctions, and more. Only at NASCAR.com. New leader, Jimmy Johnson has reassumed the lead. Tony Stewart is second, Kevin Harvick third. And just to clear up, Clint Boyer was too fast entering pit road, and Robbie Gordon actually went around the commitment cone, still came down pit road, and had to do a drive-through penalty. Both drivers with a pass-through penalty on pit road. Here's how Jimmy Johnson got the lead. Harvick in the 29.
Harvick chased it up the bank.
I was going to say, it looked like he was a little bit loose, which maybe, you know, these guys are trying to be a little bit loose on the beginning of the run, and you can see Jimmy's pretty loose. I guess everybody's loose.
How do you drive that lap after lap like that?
Actually, it's just, you know, like I said, coming off the corner is not too bad because you can do it and you can catch it and you control that with the throttle. So it's really not that bad if you once you get used to it.
And you know it's coming. You know it's coming lap after lap, so you're prepared for it. I want to expand on what Larry said a minute ago. The 29, by those guys just not staying out, they changed the complexity of that whole pit sequence right there. Because we sat here and talked about it. Shows us how smart we are in the booth sometimes. We don't have a clue what's going to go on the racetrack. Those guys got so far ahead, like Larry said, once everybody got on equal tires, they were just going to drive away from people because they had already driven out to a 4 or 5 second lead. So it forced everybody else to short pit, which means pit 7 or 8 laps earlier. Now everybody's back on the same sequence on equal tires. And Ed Barrier and the 29 car dictated that.
He's a genius.
He is a genius.
Right
like
now,
I said,
right now.
Don't argue with the 29 and Barrier and the Childress organization here at Chicago. They know what they're doing here, and that changed that whole sequence of pit stops.
Which one's Ed Barrier?
Is he the one in, oh no, Todd, sorry. I'm thinking the other one, sorry. My fault. See, I am an idiot up here. Thank goodness I'm gonna get back in a race car. I'm gonna get back in a race car in another week, sorry. It's scary to think they let me do this too. I mean down there. I mean down there.
There's Jimmy out front. Stewart in that orange Home Depot car trying to rope him in.
But that's what I like about racing in general, is one guy can dictate what everybody else does. One team can change your whole strategy on how a race goes. And that right there, the 29 car changed what everybody else had thought. Whether you took 2, whether you took 4, whether you gas and go, it didn't make any difference. It all is equal again after about 35 laps.
And who made that decision?
It's always the crew chief, man.
What was his name?
What was his name?
Okay, it's Todd, sorry.
Very good.
It's Childress Racing.
Chevy's run in the top 4 positions. Then it's Matt Kenseth in a Ford in 5th.
There's a new policy in NASCAR. You break it, you fix it. So driving for the Home Depot, naturally, I like to help. Hey, Denny, fix that fence with 6-gauge galvanized chain link. 6-gauge what? 2 gallons of Cascade White for that wall, Bobby. Exterior enamel. I gotta paint this? Tony! Fill those tracks in with topsoil, man. Good work, guys. Who's planting the Bermuda grass this time?
132 laps are complete, approaching the halfway mark here in Chicagoland. Jimmy Johnson leads Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Matt Kenseth. And a strong run for Johnson. Got his only Busch Series win here. Has never won in a Nextel Cup race. 5 starts, never worse than 6th. Here's our Miller Lite race fact. Chevy has won 5 of the 6 races at Chicagoland, and 3 straight since 2004. Junior in the 8, runs in 8th. Carl Edwards behind him in the 99. Junior up the track. Carl trying to pin it down to the bottom. Halfway here at Chicagoland, Johnson leads. Check with Lindsay.
Edwards is pretty happy with his car. Back on lap 123, Bill, he was saying that the car feels pretty good after 10 laps. It's still holding strong. And if you talk about teams, this is such an important race for this team because a couple weeks ago they felt like they were in the bottom of the barrel. They pulled it back out last week with that top 10 finish, and they feel like today they can make another strong run.
The guys throwing Junior in front of him, and Junior on the radio was funny a moment ago. They asked him how the car was. He said, well, let me see, we got no rear grip and we got no front grip. Anything else you want to know? Just, I think everybody's dealing with this, guys. The track is slick, and you've heard a lot of guys say there's just no grip out there on the racetrack right now.
Hey man, you can pick out any car just about now and watch them and see that.
You see how they're fanning out? They're all trying to stay away from each other right now because there is no grip. So they're looking for the racetrack that they can get something arrow-wise through the corners.
Since there is none, like Wally says, since there's no grip in the track itself, they've got to let the air force the car down into the racetrack. And that's why they do spread out when they get to the corner like that. They've used up all the racetrack. from wall down to the if these guys could get it in on the flat and keep it going straight on the flat, they'd be running on the flat using that new asphalt right now. And we've watched this same pack for 3 or 4 laps. They don't gain, they don't lose, they don't do anything. They just line up down the straightaway, fan out in the corners, line up down the straightaway, fan out in the corners.
And the 36 car is 2 laps down. That's Jeremy Mayfield. Now Earnhardt starts to, well, Mayfield went for a big slide right there, but you were right. These guys are all going just about the same speed.
So that's Junior back in 8th. Edwards is 9th. Truex Jr. runs in the 10th spot. Harvick's
Oh, Carl Edwards goes down in the center of the racetrack. He's in the middle, but this is where you've got to use all the racetrack on the exit. So Carl has to file back behind the 8-car of Earnhardt.
And Jeremy did a good job giving him room to race, because he had already did his slide for life down here in 3 and 4. He didn't want to do it with those 2 guys on the outside of him.
Paul Menard has returned to the race. He's 131 laps down. We've only run 138. Let's get an update on Harvick's situation. Ralph?
Well, it's not too good behind the wheel of the number 29, although it looks really good on the scoring chart as he sits here running very solid right now in 3rd. But listen to what Kevin is saying on the radio.
Guess what I'm saying is whatever you're doing, quit doing it. Yeah, for that time there, we went back and put wedge in, so that's not the way we got to go either. We're going to get some air in the right front tire next time. That's the only thing we hadn't done. I'm just telling you, every adjustment we've made has either not done anything or made it worse.
Well, at this stage of the game, what they're looking for is a lengthier pit stop opportunity, hopefully a caution to come around to readjust this car back to where he needs it to be.
And some of that, I think, was telling you also is what changes they're making aren't big enough. The track is changing faster than what they're making changes. They're making small changes. So I think the next time they come in, there'll probably be a significant change.
And sometimes when you make a change, like a wedge adjustment or a track bar adjustment, you change the roll of the car and you change the attitude of the body. And you lose a little bit of that aero tightness that you have, or that aero looseness, whichever way you want to go. When you make an air pressure adjustment, it really doesn't pick the right front corner up any. It just stiffens that corner from a shock perspective, or excuse me, from a spring rate perspective. So what they're saying is, everything we're doing, what Kevin said was, everything you're doing is wrong. Okay, so let's quit doing that and let's go somewhere else. And Barrier's saying, okay, we'll go to air pressure next time. So I think they're searching. And same old thing. It's like we said, he's screaming how bad it is, and the whole time he's running what?
Fourth. Yeah. But that's Kyle Busch.
Hey, Richard Petty. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You're Kyle Petty.
That's it.
But here's the thing that I'm seeing. The way this race is going, we're already past halfway. We've only had 1 caution. Right now, we're down to a 2-stop race. They may only get 2 more opportunities to get it right.
No, you're exactly right, Larry. That's what I was saying. A minute ago, the 29 car changed the complexion of the race. And if they continue to do what they're doing here, continue to run under the green conditions, you are down to a 2-stop race. And these guys that are off a little bit right now, they're just getting farther behind. They need a caution to catch up.
But that's why you're going to have to make these next 2 stops count. If you're going to make changes, they better be big changes.
It's also warmer today than it's been all weekend. Track a little bit more slick, less grip, more fun to watch. Johnson leads the USG Sheetrock 400.
Back at Chicagoland Speedway, Jimmy Johnson, your leader, 148 laps into this race. And let's take a look back at some of the more important moments of the race alongside Larry McReynolds here. And Larry, we saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. miss pit road. We saw him bump into the wall at one point. Hasn't been the best day for him. Probably the biggest moment of the race. Jeff Green going to spin out, but it's what happened after the spin out that really changed.
Yeah, this has been the only caution we had on lap 59. All the leaders came to pit road with the exception of Kevin Harvick, Reed Sorensen. Kevin Harvick, they stay out. They lead the next 60 or 65 laps. And then Jimmy Johnson gets back by Kevin Harvick on lap 21, so he has led the last 28 laps.
Yeah, lap 121, he retakes the lead. He's still in the lead. We're now going to get it down to Matt, trackside. Matt?
Mark, Kevin Bonomanian told me that when he scored his first win as a crew chief at Dover, it was a home game for him. But what made it special for the Massachusetts native, his dad was there. For interim crew chief here on the 48, Ron Mallett, this is a home turf game as well. He graduated high school about an hour from the racetrack at Warren County High School, Gurnee, Illinois. This is a special place. They've never scored, though, a Nextel Cup win. If this interim crew chief could get a win today, he'll do it with his dad, Ralph, here in attendance. It could be a big afternoon for Jimmy Johnson and his fans as Johnson continues to lead at a place he's never won, Chicago. More.
Caution on the track at Chicagoland. Jamie McMurray has been in the wall.
He slowed down just prior to Matt Kenseth's passing him, so I'm thinking he felt something going wrong when he got out of 4. Obviously, it looked like he lost the right front tire there, but I think he felt that earlier.
Yeah.
He was way out of the gas before that.
Pits are open. Lindsay.
Matt Kenseth is going to come on in. He said his car was starting to get just a little bit tight. And, you know, Kenseth was one of those guys that ran the Busch race last night, finished second in that. And he said, if anything, they were able to gain a little bit of information about tires and tire pressures. Right now, 4 tires and fuel for Kenseth, Ralph.
Tony Stewart getting ready to make his pit stop in the number 20 car. He's been free a little bit on the entry to tick stuck when he gets back in the gas. They don't want to make too many adjustments to it because he doesn't want to change it up too much, Matt.
Gas man Rich Katir has already made the wedge adjustment. On the last wedge adjustment, Jimmy said, as the 20 of Tony Stewart will beat him off pit road, said the fact that the car just was too sensitive over the bumps, Marty.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. said the only thing that bothered him about that last run is at the beginning they were a little bit too loose. At the end, they were very fast. So to fix that loose condition, they had half a pound to both left side tires, trying to make them take off a little bit quicker.
Tony Stewart is the race leader. Carl Edwards has fallen back to 12th, lost about 4 or 5 positions.
I bet I know what Larry's going to tell us soon.
Larry?
Yeah.
1 to go. You see it? What's that?
I can make it on 1.
That calculator, if you look down there.
I see the smoke coming from the TNT stage.
Yeah. You see that smoke coming.
There's more smoke off that than there was off the 15 when he had trouble.
It's a pretty simple plan here, guys, because they all pitted at lap 155. That's 112 to go. That means they have to make 2 runs of 56 laps apiece, which I think is borderline. The good news is, though, these cautions we've had since they pitted, that will buy them a little extra time there because it's about 2 to 1 cautions to green.
And Larry, you know what he was just doing?
Topping off.
There you go.
And Larry's going to halfway commit to that.
Hey, Larry, let me ask you a question. As slow as they're running and as much as they're out of the gas, how much is that helping them per run?
Well, here's what I noticed, Kyle. It's almost like everyone to me on that first green flag stop pitted earlier than what I was told. They got a good reading on their fuel mileage, and if you notice the next set of green flag stops, they actually ran 4, 5, 6 laps further than they did that first time. There's no question. Slower lap times, you own the gas less, definitely will help the fuel mileage.
Coming to the green, Matt.
Bill, add the 12 of Ryan Newman as someone who paid another visit to pit road. His biggest issue to work on the right front fender. Midway through the last run, he scraped the wall. Cosmetic damage wasn't too considerable, but they still wanted to fix it. Like Larry Mack mentioned, also, you get a chance to top off and maybe make it on the windows like he mentioned.
16 cars on the lead lap, 109 to go.
That's back in the pack there. We had a little bit of a no-no with guys starting 3 wide. The 6 and the 40 car. I don't know what NASCAR will do about that.
Carl Edwards lost about 5 positions during that stop. Had a little trouble with the lug nuts on the right front.
Kenseth on the bottom, trying to get past the 48 and also the 42, which is 1 lap down. Montoya. Tough to beat that momentum on the high side, though.
That's 3 wide.
You want to get out of there in a hurry. Me.
So Johnson in second, Kenseth in third. As Wally pointed out, that's Juan Pablo Montoya in that 42, the first car 1 lap down. They have black flag David Stremme for not being in line.
Yeah, and as we went to green that time, that's why I said that's a little bit of a no-no back in the pack. Those guys were not in line by the time they got into turn 3 over there. You've got to be in a single file line.
Whoa!
These guys are trying to stay in line here and knock each other out of line at the same time. But that was the call behind Stremme, and I'm not sure Stremme was in the wrong there.
Edwards has his hands full, Lindsay.
Bill, you're right, he does. And when I walked down there to their pit before and we were experimenting to find out what it was that caused that pit stop to be so slow, I saw crew chief Bob Osborne. He was down there talking to the teammates. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a team that is really trying to prove that they can pull off decent pit stops after what happened a couple weeks ago with the drop jack. They've been really studying, going over different training methods to make this team, as successful as they can at these stops. So they've got to try to pick it up from here if they're going to have success.
So, Lindsay, he called a little group huddle there?
Yeah, well, when I walked down there, he had come down off the pit box, and they were all standing in a circle talking about it. So they went back, watched the videotape, and that's when they found out it was the front.
Robbie Gordon. Caution.
All right, lock it down, lock it down. All right, come on. We're done.
Robbie was running back about 35th.
He's all up there. He was on by himself. He just got away from it. You see it wobbled a little bit in, like it was loose getting in a little bit.
Backs it into the wall. This is on board with Mark Martin.
So I say, when you lose it like that going into the corner, it's tough to save.
That wreck started going in the turn. You could see it on the film. That wreck really started as he turned in.
Right.
He got loose, he chased it, he chased it, he chased it, and finally there was just no more chasing and it turned on him. He did a really good job of hanging on to it that long.
Yeah, Juan Pablo Montoya, the lucky dog. Larry?
All right, we're fast learners. So based on what we learned earlier in the race with Kevin Harvick, I see no benefit, especially if you're up there in the top 8, 10, or 12 in coming to pit road, because it doesn't buy you anything here with only 5 laps on your tires. Now, if you're back there like Ryan Newman, Mark Martin, Martin Truex Jr., nothing to lose to come to pit road, or if you're a lap down, which I think we're seeing some of those guys now hit pit road.
Time to get in our Aflac trivia question.
Aflac.
Goes Biffle's car. At which 2 tracks has Jeff Gordon not won a Cup Series race?
Okay, Chicago's got to be one.
No, he won that last year.
last year. I did know this one.
Yes, you do.
Didn't Pahonix used to be one?
Then what?
Pahonix.
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yes.
I love that commercial.
It did used to be one.
Yeah.
Phoenix and where? Homestead. Yeah.
Oh.
Texas.
That's good.
How would you like to be an owner for a day? Log on to aflacracing.com for details on how to enter. BP always used to cue the duck for us. Last Thursday would have been Benny's birthday. Let Terry know we're thinking about her and about the big guy.
Aflac.
Field has gotten the 1 to go. We'll get the green this time by. See, Jeff Gordon stopped, Denny Hamlin stopped, Carl Edwards stopped. There are 17 cars on the lead lap. Montoya was the lucky dog. On board with Mark. Looking ahead at Denny Hamlin. Hamlin looking back at Mark Martin. Mark in a backup car started at the back of the field after a crash in practice here on Saturday. Make sure everybody's properly in line this time. Pace car to pit road. Tony Stewart is the leader. There you see the restart line. Green flag goes in the air. Whoa! Mears busting a move there. Gets the position from Earnhardt.
letting him know he didn't like him busting a move on him right there on the restart also.
Knock, knock.
But hey, that's fair game.
Yes, it is.
You leave the right side open and somebody catches you sleeping. You might get mad, but it's all legal.
And this front stretch is so wide, it leaves the outside open once you get to the start-finish line.
And Junior spun the tires when he went after the throttle. That's why he left that lane open, is because he got the rear tire spun. Went down the racetrack just a little bit.
And you can pass to the right on the restarts, but not to the left.
It is just amazing me sitting up here in the booth how bad these cars drive after restarts on cold tires or on new tires. It doesn't make any difference. You know, usually even after 15 or 20 laps at most places, when the tires cool back off, they have grip for a couple of laps. But these guys have to set their cars up so free at the beginning of a run, so as the weight or as the fuel does run out and they get a little nose weight, then the car doesn't get overly pushy and overly tight.
Truex and Sorensen trying to fight their way back to the front. This pit news is presented by Subway Restaurants, and here is Matt Yoakum.
Bill, the theme in NASCAR for 60 years is family. Lisa and husband Craig Smokestad work on Nextel Cup teams. Craig is a car chief for Brian Vickers. Lisa has been a tire specialist at Hendrick Motorsports since 1999. They met while Lisa was on college break, watching her family race at their home track in Minnesota. In '93, they were married and moved south to Charlotte. After a stop at Kenny Schrader's race team, they landed at Hendrick Motorsports. He's got a typical weekend. Most first-time fathers, like Craig, just has to call home to check on his wife. At Daytona, he just had to walk 20 or so pit stalls, but that'll change next week because this is Lisa's last race weekend. She's due around Labor Day to give birth to their first child. No names picked out yet, but people have, Bill, already started picking out gifts.
Thanks, Matt. It's pretty wild back in here.
This is a good example of why they say cautions breed cautions, because you get everybody back in, and look, we can call this whatever you want to, but it's a gaggle, okay? And it's 3 and 4 wide at the top of the racetrack to bottom, and the tires are really making these guys feel a little bit more comfortable now, even though they're halfway out of control. But this is a scary time in any race.
Getting back to the point you made a minute ago, you really, and I hate to say this with you two guys sitting here, but sometimes the drivers really don't get enough credit for how good they are at what they do, because the conditions basically appear to be fighting against them, you know, every foot on the racetrack.
You don't, it's hard for us to explain how bad these cars are driving right now. I mean, you're running 200 miles per hour down the straightaways, you know, $170, $180 through the corner. And I mean, you are saving your life every single lap, every single corner. I mean, you know, you're on the verge of out of control. And you've got 42 other guys around you that are in the same boat.
And you're running as hard as you can trying to pass people. It's kind of like if you live in an area where there's snow and you leave your driveway and you've got snow tires on. Obviously, you've got better grip and you feel more comfortable. Or you leave your driveway with a set of slicks on. You know you're not going to make it very far. And the point is, these guys start and they know right off the bat it's going to be like driving on ice with slicks, and they've got to do that for another 30 or 40 laps. And then it could go to the point where it gets so tight that neither end turns. The front doesn't turn and the rear doesn't turn either.
Mears working on the back bumper of Earnhardt. Kurt Busch watches in that 2-car. Now let's Earnhardt up the track here.
Yeah, Earnhardt had enough of the 25 car being on his rear bumper, so I think he went to the high side, and you can see, I mean, you can see him struggling with the steering wheel right there. Go down into turn 1. And this is where you got to be really easy with the steering wheel, because you're already close to the wall.
I'm gonna tell you, down here in 3 and 4, when he goes to the top side, the racetrack almost looks rough. Watching him inside the car bouncing around.
Look at some of the guys in the garage. This track is getting bumpy.
It's getting bumpier. Yes, it is. So the winners will do that to a racetrack.
Did you feel that when you were out there in Wally World, that it's a little bumpier?
Yeah, there was a bump in turn 1 that I don't remember being there. It's actually a pretty big bump in turn 1.
Marty?
Well, guys, Dale Earnhardt Jr. currently in 6th, and he talked about the chassis handling on the race car. He said on new tires, we're not good, and he told the guys, I'm worried about that. To be honest with you, if we're in a short run late in the race, we'll be in trouble. If we're in a long run, we'll be okay because they're excellent on older tires. I'll talk to Max Siegel with DEI this morning about what's going on there. Of course, Budweiser will not go with Dale Earnhardt Jr. That news came out this weekend. Max said that he hopes to, and in fact expects to, sign a new driver within the next week and a half and make an announcement around Indianapolis who that new driver might be. I asked him if that would be Kurt Busch. He said, all I can tell you, he's very, very high on the list, and Kurt Busch was at the DEI shops earlier this week. Matt?
Casey Mears runs in the 7th position, Marty. He concurred with what Larry Mack said earlier. Clean air is your friend, and Casey said in clean air his car is great, but if he gets within a car length or two of another car, he says his car just really slows up. No side bite whatsoever. One reason why he was really up on the wheel on that last restart, trying to pick up anything he can.
Man, these cars all over the place. Hey, Marty.
Yes, Weber.
Who are they talking to?
Kyle Busch.
Thank you.
Well, did I say Kurt?
You sure did.
I have Kurt's in the pit road, so I'm listening to Kurt on the radio at the same time.
Okay, well, and if you see it,
that would be Kyle
That's okay,
Busch,
Marty. That's okay, man. I said Ed. I said that's okay,
well,
Marty.
See, you know Ed Barrier.
Yeah,
Ed
I know
Barrier,
Ed. I'm sorry.
Racer,
I didn't mean to do that to you, Marty.
I didn't mean to say Kurt Busch either. It's Kyle Busch. Thank you, Weber.
You're welcome. And happy birthday.
I'm allowed one on my birthday, right?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Tony Stewart out front here in Chicago.
This is for the lead. Jimmy Johnson taking it away from Tony Stewart here at Chicagoland. So Johnson back to the point, Stewart to second.
I think Tony gave him a little room going into turn 1 there. He just he kind of eased over to the inside and let Jimmy go on around on the outside.
Well, Jimmy had so much momentum. I mean, he just filled the mirrors up in 2 laps. He wasn't there, and then all of a sudden he was there, and Stewart knew, hey, man, there's no way I'm going to keep him behind me.
That's right, and you know how it is. You look in the mirror and you see a guy coming like this, and he's come for 4 laps. He's faster than you are. You're smart enough to know that, and Tony's smart enough to know this car's faster. He comes to the trial over here, keeps it down on the inside, gives up the outside line, and just lets Jimmy go.
Not sure about the smart enough.
When did you ever use a mirror?
Yes.
Come on.
Jimmy Johnson out front. Let's go through the field, starting with Matt.
Bill back out front trying to put another check mark on his racing resume with a cup win here at Chicago. Jimmy says his car much more consistent. He also told Ron Malik and Lance McGrew his car hasn't fallen off any. It's just others have gotten better, Ralph, but he's just a little free on exit.
Well, the key words from crew chief Craig Zipadelli for Tony Stewart, 3 little words: save me fuel. We keep hearing those a lot. And the pit crew has done an outstanding job down here today. Brian Shaggy Larson, the regular catch can man, is out with a bulging disc. Andrew Bruckler, who is the catch can man for the Busch number 20 for JGR, is filling in. And these guys have had outstanding stops all day, Lindsay.
Ralph, Matt Kenseth has also had outstanding stops all day, and right now the key for him is silence. He hasn't said a word since they went back green. Did say earlier before that last stop that his car was getting a little bit tight towards the ends of the long run. Last night he went to watch his son race late models where his son came in 5th, so Matt Kenseth is hoping to end up in the front today, Ralph.
Well, about 20 car lengths behind Matt Kenseth is where you'll find Kyle Busch sitting in 4th, and car number 5 has spent the entire afternoon inside the top 5. Now, he's been tight in the center. They went down 1 round on the track bar, put 4 tires of fuel on it, and right now he's just holding pace, sticking inside that top 5. Right behind him comes Kevin Harvick. And for a guy who is complaining so much about his race car, he's actually running very well. They went back up on the wedge, made an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel back on the car, but Harvick radioed back in and said the changes haven't helped. However, he's still running in the top 5, Marty.
Well, Ralph, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s last 2 Chicago races, he's finished 1st and 5th in those 2 races. Currently, Jr. in the 6th position. He said the car took off better on this run, trying to go around Clint Bowyer, a lap car. Still running that high line. He likes what they have chassis-wise here and air pressure-wise. Wants to keep it pretty much the same. They'll probably be pretty good at the end of this run as well, Matt.
Casey Mears still running in 7th, trying for his 2nd Nextel Cup win. Says the car is not too bad. He's also made a bigger adjustment inside the cockpit, dialing some front brake into it to try to tighten it up. Says it's still a little on the free side. They're concerned, just like their teammate in the 48. It's in their right foot how much fuel they can conserve. Marty?
Well, Matt, it's been well documented that Kurt Busch loves the Chicago sports team, especially his beloved Cubs. Currently in 8th position after starting the day 43rd. He has made his way through up the field. He calls his car sluggish, but also chassis-wise dancing off the corners, quote-unquote, like a clown. Not sure what that means, Matt.
What a day, Marty. Kevin Mannion and the one team has had. They've climbed all the way back up to 9th after their pit road miscue. They came back in during that caution to top off. Right now, they're just trying to get some track position. That's one reason why they stayed out under the last caution, while a few others hit pit road. He says the car is just way too tight at this juncture, Marty.
Reed Sorensen rounds out your top 10, trying to chase down Martin Truex Jr. They have been all over the map with this car today, mostly loose for the afternoon, but they have finally gotten the car a little bit tight. They found that comfort zone for Reed. They're hoping to make one more adjustment and get him back in the ballpark that he wants to be in. The cars hung in the top 10. They have not finished in the top 10, though, since he finished 4th with this very car at Charlotte, Larry Mack.
Yeah, I want to talk about those 3 cars that came to pit road on our last caution at lap 165. Carl Edwards, Jeff Gordon, and Denny Hamlin in particular. Now, they gave up a lot of track position, but the one thing we do know that those guys will probably not have to conserve fuel, but the problem is if we don't get another caution, they're a half a lap down. But guys, here's what I might say. We're going to have that possibly final pit stop at about 15 to 17 laps. No mistakes like Carl Edwards had with the lug nuts or Martin Truex Jr. had with the tire rolling across, because your day will be over as far as winning this race.
Thanks, Larry. Jeff Burton a little loose?
Yeah, a lot loose.
Carl Edwards is 11th. Burton is... A hard crash just occurring. Ward Burton, and that's Dave Blaney. Caution is out.
I was out of the gas, but not enough.
Yeah, I think he lost a tire here, because I saw an inner liner floating down the racetrack, I think.
Yeah. Spun out, guys, and wrecked like crazy.
That was a hard hit right there on the driver's side, too. See it?
Yeah, see the tire?
Yeah,
that inner liner?
That's a good call. Good eyes there, Wally. That was good.
Clint Boyer is the lucky dog. And Dave Blaney very unlucky. And there's Ward Burton to the garage.
I've said it 100 times. That Caterpillar team has run really good this year to have the rotten luck that they have, and it's still going on. I hate that for Dave.
You're right, Kyle. That was a hard hit for both those guys.
You know, you hate to, you know it, being a driver, a lot of times you hit with the right side and you can brace for it a little bit. When the car slaps around, and that's a slap.
Yeah.
The car backs in with the left rear corner and then slaps the left side. You've got no time to brace yourself or do anything.
I'll tell you, that headrest on the left and that Haas device, I mean, you remember when we didn't have any of that stuff, and it would hurt.
Hey, Larry.
I'm not sure my calculator can even fix this one here, because this caution really changes this race. We've got 65 laps to go. We pretty much have not seen anybody go further than about 56 to 58 laps on fuel. So I think, when we get the 1 to go, we're going to see everybody come to pit road to get 4 tires. We see the 1 to go, I think we'll see a multitude of them or top off. If you don't top off, you better believe you better be conserving fuel the minute you leave pit road, and there they are, boys.
Here they come, Lindsay.
The 17 of Matt Kenseth is coming in. Kenseth just got on the radio, said if the track is going to tighten up at all, just make it a hair looser. So they're going to give him a small air pressure adjustment. Also 4 tires and fuel, Ralph Shaheen.
Tony Stewart on the very bottom of your screen in our triple split. They are really going to be close if they can make it here. Their last stop was on lap 155. Car chief Jason Shapiro just said to me, you know, you work everything you can that NASCAR allows you, that it's in God's hands, Matt.
Johnson on top of your screen calling for either a air pressure or a chassis adjustment. Went with the air pressure. His car was excellent up top, not too bad on the bottom. A car goes in the grass. Marty.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. left pit road congratulating his team. You see it right there. They picked up 3 spots, 12-0 on the stop. Jr. said it was much better on the new tires and not so bad on the old tires either. 4 tires, no changes for that 8 car.
Wow.
That's an outstanding stop by the 8 bunch. Coming to get the green for the restart. There'll be 60 laps to go.
Biffle thought about jumping out there, but he thought twice.
My man Tony was going to let him go just to get him penalized.
Friends, you got to have friends. Jimmy Johnson looking to the high side for the lead.
Oh, and he's sideways up there. Earnhardt gets a good run. Tried to get to the 48's bumper, saw him get loose and said, you know what, I think I'm going to try and get him loose myself.
You guys are mean.
That's what you're thinking. It may be mean, but that's exactly what you're thinking, because if you don't get it now, it gets tougher every lap that goes by to get that guy in front of you.
18 cars on the lead lap. Most of the reports from pit road are that most drivers cannot make it. The longest run so far today on fuel, 58 laps by Kevin Harvick. That being said, you know
someone's going to try, and someone probably will.
Kurt Busch in the 2, Carl Edwards in the 99. So up front, it's Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. runs in the 3rd position. Outstanding pit stop by his guys, and here they are. Oh, he's off the
wrong
pace.
with the 8 car, yeah.
Sean Ward, front tire carrier, Hickory, North Carolina.
DJ Kopp, front tire changer, Ontario, New York.
Brian Chase, Jackman, York, Maine.
Eric Wakeland, rear tire.
Go ahead. He's back up on the pace now, but I'm not.
Steering. Sorry about that.
What do you say? I lost the power steering?
Marty?
Well, they'll decipher what Dale Earnhardt Jr. just said. He said he lost his power steering. Sorry about that. Now, I don't know if that means he's permanently lost it for a second. That's all he said on the radio. Lost my power steering. Sorry about that, guys.
I'll tell you what, if you lose the power steering on these cars, it's really, really difficult, especially if there's air in the lines, because 1 second you have it and the wheel's easier to turn, and then the next second it's not. And I mean, it's really hard to drive, like you said. That's going to be really tough.
That'll be easier on you.
And his teammate Martin Truex Jr. on pit road. This an unscheduled stop. Matt?
Bill, Kevin Bono, man, you just told his team to start clearing out the people in the opening, as they are going to pull the 1 car behind the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, the problem with Junior's situation is right now is the steering is going to be inconsistent, and that really can get you in a lot of trouble, especially when you're going to try to save the car.
Yeah, we've talked about it all day long, how these guys are always behind the steering a little bit. The rear steps out, you got to catch up. You got to go back to the right. When you go back to the right, you can't go back quickly because you have no power steering to help you. You just got to get up on the wheel and muscle it. And you see it. He's just letting it float off into the corner and kind of bounce around wherever it wants to go and then go again. There's no way he can.
I'm going to try, Dale. It's just hard. It won't go where you want it to go.
Look at him. Look at his hands.
I never drove a car like this. This is funny.
This is funny. Listen to it. Look where his hands are. If we could show, maybe we can go back and show some of the footage of him before, where he had his hands on the wheel and the way he was just driving smooth earlier in the race when we had an in-car. Yeah. And you see him reach all the way over with the other side. He's driving like his father drove and like the old guys used to drive with the old manual steering. You had to get up on top of the wheel and muscle the car over into the corner. But you can't catch up with the car. That's the hard part.
And if you look at the grip he's got, his grip on the steering wheel is a lot harder as well. Watch when he comes back to the right, he'll grab a hold of that steering wheel. So, like I said, the biggest problem is being inconsistent. He doesn't know where the car's going to go or where it's going to land. And he is pulling on that steering wheel right now.
Has a great attitude about it.
Oh, he has a great attitude about it. Because, like he said, this has never happened to me before. You know what I mean? And these guys have never driven manual boxes. Most of these guys have never driven a manual steering box. They've always driven power steering. The problem with power steering is when it goes out, like Wally says, it gets very inconsistent, number one. And number two, when it goes completely, it's double hard to drive. Right. It's not like a manual box. It's double hard.
Yep. Okay, Marty?
Well, I'm glad he thinks it's funny. I don't think it'd be very much fun to drive that car. Plus, this is a very bumpy racetrack as well, so that's not going to be fun for Dale Jr. either. What they think happened is a piece of debris knocked the belt off the power steering pump. It did not affect any of the other pumps on the car, however. He still has water pressure, and the water temperature is good as well. So the only belt, it appears, that was knocked off the A car was a power steering pump belt. Matt?
Marty down here at the one car, still in the opening. Will Gray, the head engine tuner at DEI, had been under the hood. Martin came on the radio and said there was smoke in the cockpit, and all of a sudden he was down at least one cylinder. Richie Gilmore's down here. They're looking in the engine area, trying to see exactly if it's a minor issue that maybe they can change plugs. Now they're taking the head covers off. This is a tough break for a team that was really looking good as far as making the chase. They've got some great tracks coming up, but they are one of the only cars right now in the chase that's having a bad day.
Okay, you see Jeff Gordon there in the 24, Jeff Burton in the 31, and Earnhardt in the 8. So that's 11th, 12th, and 13th on the track. We checked with Larry.
The power steering pump on a race car is a lot like on a passenger car. It's located right here. Now, as you can see, Marty was talking about, it has a belt that drives it. The good news is, just like Marty mentioned, this belt only drives the power steering pump. It doesn't drive the alternator. It doesn't drive the oil pump or anything else. But the bad news is, for 50-something laps, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to have to wrestle that race car. But remember, he comes in here 12th in the Nextel Cup points. He needs to finish this race.
And for everybody sitting at home, when we say power steering, it's not power steering like you have on your car at home. It's not 100% power steering. They run different valvings in the pump, which gives you 50%, 60%, 70% power steering. So you keep that little bit of feel. But you get so used to that week in and week out that when it goes away, and like I said, when it goes away completely, it's double hard to drive. He's having to relearn the feel of the car right now. He's having to relearn what push feels like. He's having to relearn what looseness feels like.
Well, he's just, yeah, really right now, he's just saving his tail. I mean, this car's all over the racetrack. I'm not sure he knows what the car's doing right now, because when he gets to the corner, he's just reacting to where the car's going to try to keep it off the wall.
Yeah, guys, it's not, as Kyle said, it's not power steering. What the real right term is power assist.
And basically, it's like going from driving a fancy sports car that handles great to driving a
school bus.
Right.
Yeah. If you really, if you really had an opportunity to set in a road car, okay, to set in a road car and fire it up and just turn the wheel back and forth, you see what power steering feels like. And if you can pop your car in neutral sometimes and then just cut the power off and not lock the steering wheel, the steering wheel will still turn, sit there. That's what that car drives like.
Now, this was just a lap ago while we were talking. That's Joe Nemechek in the 13. Joe is 3 laps down.
I'm with Wally. I think he's just pointing and stabbing the steering right now. He's just pointing it and standing in the gas and letting it go. He's doing a really, really good job to keep passing people.
And I'd be willing to bet that he's having fun doing it.
Oh, you know he's having fun.
It's a challenge.
You heard that in his voice. He's challenged by this. This is something he's never experienced.
So Junior, no power steering, but hanging in there. Tony Stewart holding off Jimmy Johnson. Oh, Johnson has crashed. Hard crash. Jimmy Johnson.
That is a hard crash.
Johnson in his 5 races never finished worse than 6th here.
Let another tire let go by the looks of it. All of a sudden these guys are having some tire issues here.
I don't know if there's stuff on the racetrack from some of the cars who have crashed and gone back out there, whether they're dropping parts and pieces. Yeah, but he is, you can see from the damage, it looked like it almost got in and got in the right rear first and then slapped the wall to the right side because the rear of the car is damaged so much.
Johnson fourth in the championship
Watch
standings.
the tire come off right there, right rear. That's what did the damage.
That's what did the damage there. Yeah.
And you know, that's kind of unusual. I mean, a lot of times when we see a tire go down, it's usually the right front because that's the one that gets abused so much.
Still under caution. We'll come back to Chicago. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Under caution here at Chicagoland, Jimmy Johnson has climbed from his car and gone to the infield care center in an ambulance. 42 laps to go. Tony Stewart is the race leader. Then it's Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards up to 4th, Casey Mears 5th. Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Reed Sorensen, Ryan Newman, and Jeff Gordon the top 10. Pit road has not yet opened. And here's another look at Johnson's crash.
Watch how fast this thing turns sideways. Not much you can do. There's nothing you can do. Hang on.
You're just riding at that point.
There you see him climbing out of the car. That was a few moments ago. And the safety crew working to get the car on the flatbed and off the track. Pit road remains closed. And it will be interesting to see what strategies play out here when pit road does open. Report is that pit road will be open this time.
Well, I think we should hear from Larry. Oh, that's right. Larry's on the run.
Larry's on a mission down there right now. He's researching some tire questions. But I will give you just a second here. You're leaving tonight?
Tonight.
For the charity ride.
Leave from here to go to the charity ride, and then Davis Love III was with us until this morning. Now he's headed over to the British Open. I saw the British Open promo for TNT.
Right.
Excited about watching that Thursday morning. I promise I'll get up at 6 o'clock to watch it on TNT before I head out on our charity ride again. But yeah, we do the Chick-fil-A charity ride every year. And this year we're going north to south, Maine to Miami. So sorry to the people on the East Coast when we terrorize your town when we come through. But it's all for a good cause. It's for the Victory Junction Gang Camp, and we're stopping at a couple of children's hospitals.
You go through Tiny Town?
Could go through Tiny Town. You never know, man. Yeah, that would be a special place to visit.
Pit road is open. I knew not to give you guys just open the door a little bit and I end up under the bus. Here they come, Lindsay.
Oh, yes, they do. The big question, are they going to take tires or just do fuel? The number 17 of Matt Kenseth is going to come down pit road. Matt, on last report, it said the car a little bit tight. They're definitely going to give him enough fuel to get in there. And that's all it's going to be, guys. Ralph.
Stewart, it's going to be fuel only, just 2 seconds worth of fuel for Tony Stewart. They're going for track position. For Kevin Harvick, he's a touch tight. Air pressure adjustments as he only takes right side tires, Matt.
Darian Grubb said he would make the call when they were on pit road. He's yelling out 2 tires. They only need about 3 seconds of fuel. They are full, and he is away.
Wow, Kurt Busch picking up 4 spots. Marty?
Well, guys, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on pit road. It was a belt that came off of the 8 car. What they did was they got another belt, and all Junior did was shut the engine off. They put it around the casing, and they turned it over one time. That spun the belt back on. So in theory, Dale Earnhardt Jr. should have power steering when he goes back out. It'll be 4 tires. Junior said, I like the chassis. Learned a lot, though, without that power steering. I need to work out a little bit more, is what he said.
Now it's time for our Nextel Getting It Done call of the race. And we'll let Wally make that call.
For what?
Call of the Nextel call of the race.
I'm gonna give it to Marty Snyder for a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Marty.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'd say you gotta go Kurt Busch.
I think you got to go with Kurt Busch too.
Yep.
That's he's up to 3rd spot. Had to start at the back because of an engine change.
Got limited practice here on Friday. So our Nextel Getting It Done call of the race to Kurt Busch, currently in the 3rd position. More on Earnhardt from Marty.
Well, guys, just to clarify with Earnhardt Jr., what happened was when they were trying to get the belt on, the power steering pump seized up. So Jr. actually does not have power steering. They tried to get it on there, thought they could get it on there, but at the last second it seized up and it didn't work out.
Oh, boy, good. Restarts are going to be fun.
That's going to be huge on restart, but that was what I was going to go to before we went to commercial, was to say a lot of times the fluid gets so hot it bakes everything inside the pump, and the pump seizes up itself, and it doesn't work even though you think you have a belt on it.
Well, you're just full of good news.
I've been there.
Stewart is the leader, but here comes Matt Kenseth. Whoa! Tony went up high to block. Matt's going to try down low for the lead. Can tell you that Jimmy Johnson has been treated and released from the infield care center. Side by side for the lead.
Whoa, Stewart really came down the racetrack there. I think tried to get in front of the 17 of Kenseth, but Kenseth is still there.
Matt a little loose. Okay, we'll watch this for the lead, and let's check in with Marty.
And good to report Jimmy Johnson has come from the care center as we watch that battle for the lead. Any indication that tire was going down, Jimmy?
No indication. I did get a little bit looser that run chasing Tony, so maybe there's a warning sign in there, the tire coming apart. But man, when that thing exploded, I thought the drive shaft came out of the car. It was so violent, and then spun around and into the wall.
Saw you kind of rubbing your arm. You okay?
Yeah, I popped my elbow on the seat, and it was, kind of hit my funny bone. It was tingling for a little bit there, but maybe just a bruise on my elbow and knocked the wind out of me a little bit. I haven't hit hard in a while, and that certainly was one of those, but as fast as I was going, I knew it was going to be a bad impact.
Good news is Jimmy's okay. How's that battle for the lead, Weber?
Stewart has it. Kenseth wants it. Let's get a report from Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, guys, I just left the garage, and of course Ron Malik, that entire 48 group with Goodyear engineers had surrounded that right rear tire. And what I was trying to find out, we've heard everybody hunting grip. We've heard about guys being loose. That will tend to let these guys take air pressure out of the right rear, and you go so low, you hurt the durability of the tire. That does not appear that that's the case, that they have not got aggressive with that right rear air pressure. Right now, the tentative diagnosis is just the fact that maybe he cut the tire down.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate you checking into that.
We saw Tony early in the day. He was one of the cars that really just would gas and go. We saw the 29, the 41, and Tony at that point in time. So they know what their car is. If Tony's comfortable with their car, obviously he told those guys, hey, I can go on gas and go. Just fill her up and let me go. These tires are going to be good. The clean air is better for me. So just like Larry said and like Wally said and like you guys talked earlier, if you're going to try something, try it early in the race, because if it works, you go back to it at the end of the race. If it doesn't work, you never do it again. It worked for these guys, and they went right back to it.
Strong run for Stewart today. Now Kyle Busch has fallen back to the 17th position. That's the last car on the lead lap. Ralph has that story.
Well, the 10 of the 5 of Kyle Busch had some problems. Just about 10 laps before that caution came out a few minutes back. He got real loose, brushed the wall. They came in, put some tape on the car. It's pretty much just a cosmetic issue for Kyle Busch.
Thanks, Ralph. See the tape on the rear of that car.
Problem is he's got a lot of traffic to work through in order to get to Stewart. I mean, you got Stewart and Kenseth out there. They're just sailing right now because they've got clean racetrack. These guys that are back here in the 15th, 16th position, really 25th to 30th, because there's a lot of cars a lap down or more. This is where you get into a situation where if you don't have the track position by now, they're pretty much in trouble.
Yeah, and I know everybody listening to this gets tired of us talking about track position and aero, but that's what these races are all about. That's what they are right now. You take a car that can lead and dominate and drive away and put them halfway through the pack, and they can't pass but 3 or 4 cars. I don't care whether it's Tony Stewart or Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson. I don't care how talented these guys are. Without the aero or the clean air to run out front, these guys struggle back in the pack.
That's 9th and 10th. Jeff Gordon in the 24, Ryan Newman in the 12. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has now fallen to 17th. That makes him the final car on the lead lap. He runs about 9 seconds behind the race leaders.
I think Junior's just going to be happy to be able to stay on the lead lap and get a finish out of this thing right now.
Yeah, and the one thing, we talked about him being 12th in points. Jamie McMurray was 13th.
Right.
We saw what happened to Jamie. So there is that little bit of cushion. There's not many points in there. You can't afford to give up any race or any points. So he needs to hang on and get those extra 3 points for finishing 17th instead of 18th.
Race leader is Tony Stewart. Ralph's had that car all day.
Oh, that we have, Bill. And you know, the best car in his stable is chassis number 120. This is chassis 143, which was built to be a clone to that car. This car has gone through 5 different bodies and 3 different front clip designs as they've tried to match the aero numbers to chassis number 120. They think they have finally done it. And Lindsay, the way this car is running today, it might start matching chassis 120 in the win column.
Well, Ralph, Matt Kenseth certainly hopes that that's not what happens, because he wants to win here so badly he can taste it. This, of course, because it's his hometown track. He said there are more 17s here than any other track he ever visits. He would love to do it for the fans, and right now he thinks that his car is good enough to get up there and get past them.
I'll tell you, that 17 pit, that's a fun pit to have, especially in these situations.
And this is a Matt Kenseth type of race.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If it would go green from here out, this could be a Matt Kenseth kind of race, because he's that guy that's just there in the top 5 or 10 all day long. And when it comes time for the money payoff, he's the one that's going to force the issue and make something happen.
Edwards just got 5th from Casey Mears. NASCAR looking at some possible debris around the start-finish line. Keep in mind, Tony Stewart has not won in 2007. He's the race leader right now. More on Mears from Matt.
Bill, he just lost the 5th position. He's been loose all day long, and he came on the radio moments ago and says, now I am way too tight. So it's gone from one end of the spectrum to the other for Casey Mears. Remember what I told you earlier, when he gets someone directly in front of him, it really slows his car up aerodynamically. It just really slows down, and he loses even more ground, and that's what's happening.
Thanks, Matt. Tony Stewart is the race leader, 25 to go. The 18 off the pace. We have one commercial set to get in. Do that now. Come back for the finish. Handful of cars on pit road, but most of the leaders stayed out. There you see Jeff Gordon coming to pit road. Kyle Busch. Pablo Montoya.
Why not? Where those guys are running, what's the difference?
Yeah.
May as well come in and put tires on. You got absolutely nothing to lose. There's only 17 cars on the lead lap, and you're sitting back there in 15th or 14th or whatever.
You know, guys, I really believe when I look at those guys up there top 7 or 8, even though on the caution before this one, some of them elected to go with fuel only, I think everybody is pretty equaled out. I like the position that those first couple of cars are in. We've talked about it all day long, clean air.
Yeah, the biggest thing is these guys have to clear these slower cars, and a lot of these guys down on the bottom have taken 4 tires, so that might be a little bit tough.
$18 to go. Stewart leads, has not won this year. Kenseth almost had it here last year, didn't get it. Harvick in 3rd, won the Busch race here yesterday. Past winner at Chicagoland. This is really where you want to try and get as much as you can get on the restart.
You know, and it's hard at this point in the race if you're back in the pack. You know, we talk about these guys that pitted and changed tires, because what happens is, just like everybody said, these lap cars pitted and changed tires also. They're racing for position with 18 to go. They don't have time to let you by if you're a lead lap car. They're racing their rear ends off for 16th, 17th, 25th, and 26th, because points are important to those guys also.
And they're not happy about it either.
No, not happy at all.
You can see Kenseth searching right now. He's trying to find, when he goes down the corner, you'll see he'll be low 1 second, and then he'll be high the next second. He's trying to find a place. Uh-oh, we got trouble up here in the front straight. Nemechek goes around.
Well, I kind of knew that was coming.
Caution is out. David Gilliland was the lucky dog under the previous caution. He became the 18th guy on the lead lap.
Kind of trapped in behind us. I knew it wouldn't take long.
Let's go back and take a look here. It's Kyle Busch in the 5.
Nemechek lost that way before the 5 car even got there.
And then they get contact with Earnhardt.
Yeah, that is not Kyle Busch's fault.
No.
Not in any way, shape, or form.
John Andretti in the 45 is the lucky dog under this caution. You see the 13.
Wow, pin the 8 on the outside wall.
Yeah, they made a little bit of contact, so Earnhardt's probably got a little bit of damage there to his left front fender.
There's Joe. Half a lap from going green, Marty.
Guys, it's also about overcoming adversity. Let's look at a couple of RCR cars who have done that today. Jeff Burton's car was horrible for 3/4 of this race, but his team never gave up. They worked on it, and worked on it. Finally, here he is in the top 10 and 7th. And how about Clint Boyer behind him? His teammate, remember, he went down a lap earlier on. Speeding penalty on pit road. They fought back, and as Gil Martin just told Clint Boyer a moment ago, remember the big picture. Kyle, you know this. When you're trying to make the chase, it's days like this when it wasn't so good for the first half of it, that you make it good in the second half and come home with the top 10.
Be 12 laps to go when they get the green flag. Stewart, Kenseth, Harvick, Edwards, Mears, the front 5.
Top 3 guys clear.
And the top 3 guys have been the class of this field today, or at least been there all day long. We've seen Carl Edwards, and not to discount him or not to discount, because we know how Carl can get up on the wheel with 10 or 15 laps to go. But these top 3 guys, the 20, the 17, the 29, throw the 48 in there early in the race. If you throw him in there, these 3 or 4 guys have been what the race has been all about, and these guys have put themselves back in a position again late in the race.
Levin just had a very close call coming off of turn 4.
Denny Hamlin
tries to squeeze in between Sterling Marlin and the 14 and Ryan Newman, and
there's no room there.
Out of room. Nope.
There was never going to be any room there. But from the halfway point of the corner,
he was hoping.
Well, it looked like there was a lot of room there, but then it changed quick.
I wouldn't have gone through there on my motorcycle. Let me just say that.
What did you say about Carl Edwards getting up on the wheel?
I said Carl will get up on the wheel with 10 or 15 laps to go, so don't discount him. I'm just saying the 29 car that Carl's driving around on the outside right now, Kevin Harvick has had a good day.
Harvick to 4th. Edwards takes 3rd behind Stewart and Kenseth.
Nice and smooth. You'll run them down in front.
You run them down. It may be harder to pass those 2 guys in front of him right now, though, because Tony Stewart's car looks awfully good.
Less than 9 laps to go. That's 3rd and 4th.
And that's, you get about that close. When you start getting closer, that's when it starts really messing with your car as far as the air, you know, the guy breaking the air up in front of you.
You got to give it to Kevin. Kevin's been on the bottom of the racetrack all day long. The only time he came off the racetrack was when he dropped like a rock after that one set of tires.
Trouble for David Stremme. He pulls down on the apron, heads for the garage. There's Stewart out front. Little over a second. Last Saturday night at Daytona, Tony was involved in contact with his teammate Denny Hamlin. Yesterday here at the racetrack, Joe Gibbs was here. He called Tony Stewart into the 11 rig where Denny Hamlin was and talked to them for about 29 minutes. Not just any 29 minutes, the first 29 minutes of happy hour.
Things in front of us, babe. Nice and smooth. 6 to go right here. 6 more.
And you know, talking about Carl getting up on the wheel, this is where Tony Stewart gets up on the wheel too. He's in sniffing distance of a checkered flag right here. It's been a while since he's won one. He wants to show to everybody, hey, we've run up front. We should have won 4 or 5 races already this year. We can do this. And he's checked out a little bit on these guys on the 17 and on the 99 right now.
His last win was at Texas last November, 20 races ago. He's a past winner here, led 160 laps when he won here 3 years ago. 303rd start for Tony Stewart.
I mean, that car is just, it's on a rail right now. And what he's got going for him, again, there's just nobody in front of him.
Nobody in front of him. He floats it off in the corner. He gets it down on that white line. He gets back in the gas, where these guys are mired in traffic. And if somebody cuts you off a little bit, you got to check up. You lose your momentum. And you see how big a momentum track this is anyhow. I mean, it's just a big circle.
See Jeff Gordon there trying to get Ryan Newman, as Newman sits in 10th spot right now.
And I'll tell you right now, Carl Edwards is trying to get Matt Kenseth for second. There you see the distance from first to second and third. I really thought that 17 would make a move here at the end.
I really think the 17 needed the car, needed the race, just like Robbie Reiser said, to go long green. He had just begun to kind of run Tony back down and kind of close up on Tony when that caution came out with 10 or 12 laps to go. And I think that really took his race away. I felt like that took his race away at Daytona. I felt like the 17 car had a great car in the long runs at Daytona. And it's been the same here, and Robbie said basically that.
So Edwards tries to catch Kenseth. Everyone looking at Tony Stewart, the race leader. Mentioned he has not won this season. But I'll tell you, he is a second half of the season driver. Don't know why or how that works, but that's been the story of his career. Less than 2 to go.
It doesn't look like Carl can run a totally different line than the 17. Either that or 17 changing this line around. Carl's pretty much running the same line as the 17, which is going to make it difficult for him to get around him.
Those are teammates from Roush Fenway Racing, Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards.
And Matt's probably the best there is at blocking you without telling you that, without you knowing that he's blocking you.
Last lap.
99's right on him right now. Oh, goes down to the bottom, and he almost forced Matt to run a little bit higher, but
then you see
not the grip.
Yeah, he goes back to the gas and it pushes up the racetrack. Now these guys are just trying not to take each other out.
Yeah.
At that point in time.
Just bring it on home.
Did you hear him say not much teamwork here, just bring it on home?
So Kenseth in second, Edwards in third. But Tony Stewart, 20 races since his last trip to victory lane at Texas in November. Tony Stewart wins at Chicago.
Great run for the 20 Home Depot team and Tony Stewart.
So maybe that pep talk from Coach Gibbs really did work.
If it did, I'm going to see if I can pay him to come talk to me next week. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. And you know, I think it just gets Tony back focused on what he needs to be focused on.
You did a really nice job on pit road today. Thank you. You did a hell of a job there, Smoke.
Thanks. You guys did it. You got me the track position, guys. You won us this one.
Welcome to the Nextel Cup post-race show from the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois, where Tony Stewart is the winner. He's in victory lane, and Matt Yoakum is down there with him.
Well, 4 times his career, Bill. Tony Stewart had won before the summer. This year, he waited until July, scoring his second win here in Chicago. Is dredged by Jason Shapiro. How important, Smoke, the performance of these guys up here on the wall today?
Oh, man, all these Home Depot guys were the ones that won us the race. They got us the track position we needed, and especially with late cautions like that, and, you know, being out front, being in clean air was everything. So every one of these guys with this Home Depot Monte Carlo SS were the ones that got us in victory lane today for sure.
Especially after all you've gone through, all this team has gone through, not winning since last fall at Texas. This one has to be special for a lot of reasons, especially trying to build some momentum going to Indy.
Yeah, and we had a pretty good feeling we were going to have a good weekend. A good buddy of ours, Michael Guglielmucci, had a birthday today, so we always do good on birthdays for some reason. So I'm glad this is over. I'm going on vacation, damn it.
Hey, how big the motivational talk by the coach?
It's good. I mean, you know, it was a bigger drama with the media than it was with the teams in all reality. We got a strong group of guys, both with the Home Depot team, the FedEx team, and the Interstate Batteries team. And you know, the good thing about Joe is Joe knows how to organize people and how to keep people motivated and keep them working together. And I think Denny and I worked better today than we've ever worked. And we were even giving each other signals on where we thought we both needed to be on the racetrack. So, you know, it's stuff like that that just is going to make this team just keep getting stronger and stronger each week.
We've seen you climb the fence many times, but it seemed like you had a little extended stay up there. It's a long day here.
get your fat butt up that fence once there, big boy. You try it. If you can do it as good as I can, then you can.
Oh, absolutely. I can out fence climb you. Don't worry about that. Congratulations, Tony Stewart. We'll do it after the caution here, or the commercial.
And the Gibbs car's looking pretty good, Larry. What do you see the rest of the way? We got, you know, a few races left to the chase.
Well, the clock is ticking. We have 7 races until Richmond, and if you look there, the DEI guys, both of them having troubles, and then the guy right behind them coming in here, Jamie McMurray in 13th had problems. The guys we better keep a watch on, the 2 Penske cars, they're 14th and 15th coming in here, both of them with top 10 finishes trying to get to the top 12.
Our thanks to all the terrific fans for our TNT Summer Series. It was a great ride. Hope you enjoyed it. Tony Stewart is the winner at